Addressing about the problems about art fixes and why it can be very problematic.
Yo, hello, this is my Chronics, and this will be my very first art rant video. Now let's talk about art fixers, and why it's so terrible and why it's a problem. Let's address it, shall we? So, remember the recent case of Zeefixesart? Yeah, that girl on Twitter who caused a huge debacle in the art community because of her art fixing? This is why I don't like Twitter at all. I've quit using Twitter 2 years ago because of toxicity and unnecessary drama going around with it. But anyways, having to plagiarize on fixing other artists' characters and other anime characters to change the color of their skin tone to a more darker complexion, which is really offensive to people of color, you know, and their body type to looking quite unnaturally obese or chubby to look more appealing in Zeefixesart's point of view, which is just her unintelligible ego. Yeah, with her own art critique, she considers it to be valid in her own self, I guess. What is she's doing is so really offensive, and even she didn't ask permission about the artist she called out, and that they should be thankful for how she fixed their art in a way which is really inappropriate and rude, just disrespectful to the artists she critiqued. Most importantly, how she has been blocked a lot of times in Twitter, and her account was hacked. Yes, her account was hacked. Zeefixesart is kind of having this kind of art style that is implementing around black people of color, you know? And she wants to blackwash every character she tries to fix from others, which is undoubtedly wrong for her to do that. And I hope she learns her lesson, and I hope she learns from her mistakes, hopefully. Another thing that kind of bugs me, flood up again, and she's kind of pretty similar to Zeefixesart, which is again from the art community in Twitter, who is Mystic Mary, or well, let's call her Pearl. Tries to fix Knuckles, who is a Sonic character, and she is trying to change his skin tone because she thinks it is based on the standard of people of color, but is entirely really weird and looks really offensive to point it out because she changed Knuckles' skin color to a more darker complexion. Well, the Sonic characters were portrayed as humans drawn by a Japanese artist by the name Tsukikage. This person was extremely rude to this artist. Turns out she wasn't any part of being a person of color, and when she is just a generic white person who wants to have that white savior mentality she tries to portray, although she failed that act and tries to get away of what she did. This is why it's horrible for fixing art without asking permission from the artist. It's really disrespectful, having to build up ego to fix other people's art for their own benefit. To feel validated doesn't change anything about their pride of being an art fixer, but being a rude, egotistical person who knows no sympathy. Here's another one that bothers me. It's another art fixer again, but it's different. From the name Kyokolgi. It's his new, from his recent old YouTube account, but now he has a new YouTube account, which is Kairos Irivan, and on their social media page, in their Instagram page, is Bwanfixingart 2. He has a lot of names to cover by, but none whatsoever. Whatever, never mind, let's continue. Anyway, from my opinion, he deserves to be called out. I don't know any of his origins or who he really is, but this is by far the rudest piece of trash I've ever witnessed, despite knowing he wants attention from the social media around people and by other artists alike to cause drama around the art community. This person only tries to fix some of the more well-known artists that are Japanese and Korean. His work is more like really weird and strange. And he thinks that his only point of view is better, even though it doesn't seem like it. So this Korean artist, who is Zen Novely 127, is another victim of one who tries to fix their art on the side view drawing that Zen Novely did. Due to this, Zen Novely deleted her recent sketches because of how Bwan insulted her art. Totally despicable. Bwan is a total twat, trying to cover up his actions and degrading artists that are more talented than him because he thinks highly of himself. Bwan calls out a lot of the popular artists by calling their art trash, but to look at his work is pretty bland and plain. The coloring is lazy, it doesn't have any shadows, and it doesn't even fit the vibe he's trying to portray with his work. Unlike the beautiful art Zen Novely has, it has more depth, it has more feeling, it has more flow, and the artists that Bwan insulted, they deserve more recognition and potential than this egotistical, rude, and beyond disrespectful this dude is. It just make it more awful and disappointing to say the least. He tries to debunk his wrongdoings. He pretends to see on the proportions and finding a negative impact of the artist's art style or their flaws, and there's nothing otherwise to fix. His art style alone is a problem. The eyes are empty and shallow, and he doesn't show any emotion to even bring his so-called art to life. No feel and no atmosphere was put out in his so-called art or drawing. I don't care. It wasn't made in good effort either, in my opinion. His YouTube channel is a problem. His Instagram feed is a problem too. I mean, look at his art redos. All are better than the original. This is why art fixing is so problematic. It doesn't help. It would be better if he could reflect his faults, because what he is doing is wrong. Or maybe he's just jealous that their art is way better than what he is doing. Because if this may be the case, I'm not even surprised if he is jealous, you know? People like him base too much on their pride, thinking they are perfect with their skill when he is even not. Partially, I think he is delusional. Maybe a tad bit too delusional. His ego is way up and can't compare to anything, thinking he is better than any other artists, even when he isn't. Why can't it be kind enough to ask permission from the artist if he can critique their work? Wouldn't that be easy if they allow or if they don't? Because if a lot of art fixers who tries to critique other people's art, thinking that their art is so in that level of advanced, or maybe they're thinking that they're professional level in that kind of sense, then their art doesn't seem to look good enough to put effort into the face of other better artists with more experience and has more talent. What does it give benefit for? Of course, it's only for them to have that prideful confidence they can't see in between their faults and lies or making excuses. Art critique should be more respectful and insightful to learn more about art, not seek harm from other people's work and try to fix it when it's already finalized and doesn't need any fixing, or to search any more of their flaws or whatever. Because seeing the finalized work is what matters. I mean, look at what he has done so far. The girl literally is naked. She looks so malnourished and underweight. What has Bwan's mind going in for? Of course, his egotistical behavior even looks grotesque and looks unnatural to the original, doesn't qualify the goods to need any more fixing when the original art is more polished and balanced than the other one he made. Why does it look like that? It looks disproportionate and really weird looking at it. In any further cases, I'd like to add that art fixers are terrible people. They shouldn't be associated in the art community because they are a piece of scum and they only validate themselves because of their boastful, egotistical attitude no one would like to boot. The only people who have the rights to critique are the pros, not the cons, who are more lenient and who are more experienced with their craft. Professionals who are willing to give advice that could actually be helpful to amateur artists so they can develop more with their skill and that it could benefit more in the art community because that's what matters. And I hope that art fixers need to get a life, If they want to fix art, then how about improving their art for themselves, This is why it needs to stop. Ask permission, if you guys want to critique art. That's all it takes. Just ask permission from the artist. If you want to critique their art, if they allow it, then okay, then if they don't, then don't. That's how you do it. And that's the end of the rant for today. And thank you for watching. And keep safe and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!